Okay, very good morning. So we are good to go. Let's see. Just a second. Let me adjust. Okay, just give me a second. I'm adjusting. Okay, so we are good to go. And okay, so I can see many faces. Uh, Very good morning, all. So let's start with today's topic. Today we have taken tandoor. So if we sort of talk about tandoor, first let's see. Tandoor is also known as tandoor, which is a cylindrical clay or metal oven which is used in cooking or baking. So now again, when we discuss about tandoor can be equipment, and from tandoor itself, the name tandoori cooking came into existence. So if we say, or if we take an example, tandoor can be equipment and tandoor can be a cooking. So whatever is being cooked into tandoor is tandoori cooking. No, when we say tandoori cooking, it tandoor, because why we say tandoor utilizes three methods of cooking. That is baking, roasting, and grilling. So it does three sort of preparations in one go only. So that is why it's very famous. Again, when it's implying three methods of cooking, that's why tandoori food is most appreciated. When uh, uh, when we say about three ways of cooking, uh, getting little technical, there is a radiant heat and then it's convection. So what that three methods of cooking: convection, conduction, and radiation. So two methods are applied in cooking with tandoor. So radiant heat is what, when heat goes inside the tandoor and it cooks, so that is a radiant heat. And convection is when heat is generated from a surface and it transferred into the food. So convection and radiation are two methods which goes into tandoori cooking. Now temperature varies from uh, sort of 200 degrees centigrades to 480 degrees centigrade. So that is where the temperature goes. So this is how the temperature variation is there. Now we'll discuss later on the temperature, how which temperature at what things are being cooked and how it goes. So basically, now if we discuss about tandoor, it is the most common conception is that tandoor came into existence when Mughals came in India. No, tandoor was even before in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization also, where it was sort of being kept underground, or that was a cylindrical bell-shaped sort of thing, which was to put most of use of making breads. Like we have discussed previous also when we were discussing Punjab cuisine, that the concept of sanja chula was there. What sanja chula is it there? What is sanja chula is where a common earthen sort of chula is being made, or a common earthen sort of tandoor is being placed, where all the women or the working sort of ladies of the village would come and prepare rotis and saag, which was there. So tandoor was into existence. Now there are four different types of tandoor which are there. You have sort of Afghan tandoor which is there, which is made of bricks. You have a Punjabi tandoor which is there, which is made of clay and is bell shaped, of course. Then you have Armenian tunir, which is there. So Armenian tunir, if you go and if you see specifically the photos of Armenian tunir, that is underground and again made of clay. So the Armenian tunir and there is one another tandoor which is from Azerbaijan. So these tandoor, what happens is these are underground and huge, huge, because if you see there are large. If you go towards the west frontier cuisine towards Pakistan, there are large rotis which are being prepared in the same tandoor. You can see the videos very well. So that is the four sort of differentiation between tandoor. It's not only a tandoor what we see. And they have different tandoors around the world. So there are four types of tandoor which are there. Now, again, to summarize, you have sort of Punjabi, Afghani tandoor, you have Punjabi tandoor, you have Armenian tandoor, and you have Azerbaijan tandoor. There would be many tandoors which are there, but these are the four basic classification of tandoor which is there. Now, when we talk about tandoori cooking or tandoori food, so basically if you talk about tandoori food has to be sort of marinated. Okay, so so it has to be marinated. Breads of course can be prepared without marination, so that is there. Now, how there are the traditional method of cooking through tandoor is you of course burn coal, you of course burn wood. So the clay heats up and then you place rotis. Nowadays we have electrical tandoors as well. Now how it goes? The electrical tandoor, they are being directly fit into the socket, light socket, and it heats up again. But the clay is foundation to your tandoor. Without clay, the sort of aesthetic appeal or the heating up of a food would be like just like your oven which is there. So tandoor, though being electrical and everything, but the clay part would always remain there. So that would be there. Now if we say if we take an example how usually tandoors are, you have seen our college tandoor which is fitted into drum. You have many tandoors. If you see a local tandooriya would get his own tandoor which is in three parts again with a metal, and again inside you would find clay, or on top of he'll lay out clay. Now in hotels you would have seen a stainless steel tandoor, but again a stainless steel tandoor is being fitted at one corner where a mid is inside. Then you have a sort of wool, electrical wool or silk wool which is there, which is a good conductor. Then you would find how a tandoor is being made. So first a bell clay dome, bell shaped dome is there, of course, which is there. Then you start fitting it. Then how you start fitting it? There would be a silk wool which is there. Then you have a sort of sand which would be there. You have bricks would be there. Then it being laid, and then the stainless steel outer covering is being put to make it look more aesthetic for easy cleaning and everything. So that is how a tandoor is being made. Now, regarding any questions what you have, we'll answer it once we are through. Let me take the lecture for 45 minutes. Then we'll start taking your questions for the same thing. Now, though tandoor is an influence, majority of your Southeast Asia, no, East Asia, which is there, which would have tandoor. Now what happened is, now let's discuss about the history of tandoor. Tandoor originated in Persia. Where is Persia? Persia is sort of towards Afghanistan, in between that land is called Persia. You have seen the Prince of Persia. So same, if you can correlate. So why it happened so? Tandoor is they had a game birds. If we speak about tandoori cooking, it happened long way back. But what happens is that was a method where direct roasting was happening. It was not in an enclosed space, so direct roasting was happening. Whereas when tandoor came into existence, because what happened, many of the invaders who came, they came from the upper part of Afghanistan, Mongolia, there. So from there, when people traveled, they traveled with their army. So again, uh, catering to so many people with such and less resources, it was very impossible. So again, as it's been said that uh, uh, avishkar I'm forgetting the word. What is that? आविष्कार की जर्नी, समथिंग लाइक दैट. व्हाट इज, जरूरत ही आविष्कार की जननी होती है. So same way, when you are in need of something, you experiment. So in that experimentation, tandoor came into existence, where people found that in clay pot, if we put a lot of coal, and if we do that, that generates that heat has been generated for longer duration of time, and the meat cooked into that gives a better taste. If we cook, so if you can put a lot of meat with your seek or salai, and it gives you a lot better taste. So that is there. So if we sort of talk about history, tandoor goes back till 3000 BC, which is before Christ. Uh, Small mud plastered tandoor were there, smaller because again they were used in home, and side doors were there in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro culture also, which we have talked about. So tandoor is a word which is derived from tanur, which is a Persian word. And if we talk about sort of Babylonian culture, which is pre-Roman, tanur became tandoor. So when it came into Afghanistan, when it came into India, it also was used in making breads. During sort of 14th century, if we talk about um Amir Khusro, he describes naan tunak, which is or naan tunari, which is a bread cooked in tandoor. So Amir Khusro was long back, and he was being employed in court of Delhi during the regime of Jahangir, and it's been said that tandoor was made portable. Portable is what it can travel from one place to another. So tandoor was made portable by Jahangir himself, because he seldom used to stay in Delhi during the summers. So when he used to travel to Shimla for his as his summer capital, so he used to take his tandoor, his all kitchen people would travel with him to Shimla. So there he again would. That is why he made his tandoors portable. And uh, specifically, he would ask if, to roast his meat and to make naans, and small of baby chickens were there, large pieces of lamb, ran, which came into existence. And first tandoor restaurant, if we talk about India, it was being said that Moti Mahal was the first restaurant after independence which came into existence in Delhi. So Moti Mahal dates back to sort of post independence period, where we just been gotten independence, and Moti Mahal was established. So tandoori food was catered from there to the Indian folks. Now, talking about the technical aspect of how tandoor works, if we say it would have a sort of tandoor, if you say, would have a sort of cylindrical structure where it would be go, and then a flat um, in between, sort of fat belly, and then again tail closed, and then you have a door which would be there. So this is how the tandoor works. Then the temperature is usually very hot. If the temperature, if we say, temperature varies from, if the bottom temperature would be 400 degrees, then you have 300 degrees, then 200 degrees. So at most the temperature what we can reach in tandoor is 480 degrees centigrade. That would be sort of 900-degree Fahrenheit. So this is how the temperature of tandoor goes. But again, if we see the tandoor temperature going high, it would be white hot inside. Why we say? Because there would be a lot of ash which would be generated, or a lot of smoke which would be generated. That is why the sort of walls, clay walls, become white due to that. And this the wood, when stop burning, then only we operate the tandoor. Otherwise, if you put your hand inside a tandoor when it's live, what happens is your hand would get burned. Same thing. Yeah. Now, uh, uh, again, there are many things which are implied in tandoor, like you have temperature plays a major role in cooking. So, of course, uh, there would be a lot of things which would do. Now, how many of you would have seen during your training how tandoor has been lit. So, what happens is, um, during the once we start operation in the morning, we sort of remove all the residue which has been left of a day before. So we allow that to cool down. Then fresh coal has been poured into a tandoor. uh, you can add wood also, which is there, but burning a wood leaves more sort of smoke. So it has not been advised by many of the hotels to cut down the pollution, that nowadays wood has not been burned, so only coal is being utilized. You put somewhat fuel, chemical fuel on top of that, and then we slowly allow that to burn. A tandoor would be properly lit according to capacity. At least it would take a hour and a half to be fully prepared. So that is the duration which is being required. So most of the time when you see in the hotels, when they start burning a tandoor and will start lighting, that would be after they have finished their misa for everything. So that would be towards half of the daytime during 10:30. If we are sort of starting foreign lunch, which would be there from 12:30 or 1, so at least a hour and 2 hours before the crucial time of service or crucial time of operation, we'll start our tandoor, so that it gets properly lit up and everything is on place. Misa, what has been, is on place. So this is how the process of letting up the tandoor. It goes on slowly, and the heat would radiate, and we close the top. So this is how the tandoor is being lit up. Now, if we talk about the different foods which are being according to temperature, are if we marinated piece of mutton and chicken would require a temperature of 300 to 350 degrees centigrade for cooking. Again, if we this is, I am talking about smaller pieces of, when we say tikka or kebab, something like that. If we say tandoori chicken would require a temperature of 2 287 to 300 degrees centigrade for baking. Because why? Now, why there is a difference between a smaller piece of meat and a bigger piece of meat? Because bigger piece of meat would require a lower temperature and higher sort of time for cooking, whereas a smaller piece of meat would require a less time and higher cooking, because that's need to be, why we are taking this on higher temperature, because the pores need to be sealed. If we don't, there is a term which is called uh, sort of jacquarding, which is there. Jacquarding, what happens is, the temperature when we roast anything, temperature to, there is a sort of pot roasting, or there is a sort of grilling. Why grilling? When we say about grilling, why grilling is that? Grilling is being done at a higher temperature to sort of seal off the pores of the meat, so that the moisture which is trapped inside doesn't leave, and the meat which is being grilled is or roasted remains sort of soft and juicy. So that is why same sort of scientific principle applies here. The smaller pieces of meat would be roasted at a higher temperature and for a shorter duration of time. So when we put the meat into a tandoor with the skewers, immediately the pores would be sealed, because due to there would be a sort of layer which would be forming on top of a meat. Like when we burn something, when you burn hand, there would be immediately a layer which would be forming on top. So that same principle apply here. So the layer would prevent the moistures to escape. So that is why it's been cooked for a shorter duration of time. And whole chicken would be cooked for a longer duration of time. Of course, the principles of sealing the poles would apply here also, same way. Then, if you talk about naan or in roti, they would be again cooked at sort of temperature of 250 degrees, something like that. So again, you can't put a sort of chicken marinated chicken in the same tandoor where you are putting your naan or roti, because it would require a different temperature. Okay, when that again, if you go towards Punjab, there is a concept of making tandoori cakes, biscuits, which are there. So they are being baked at a temperature of sort of 150, 170 degrees centigrade, something like that. Because it again requires a lower temperature and a longer duration of time to cook. Now, if we talk about vegetables or roasting bangan for a bharta, that would again require a very low temperature. This is being done at when tandoor is just about to be going down, or it's just about to be dying. So towards end of cooking, because it will require a very less temperature and very less time also. So vegetables, again, if we put vegetables with our sort of meat or chicken, again that should be roasted. That is why they turn more sort of blackish instead of our chicken. So this is how the tandoor cooking varies. So I'll again repeat how the pieces, what are the temperatures which are required. So if we specifically talk about smaller chunks of meat or tikkas or botis, it would require 350 degrees centigrade. 350 degree centigrade. If we talk about tandoori chicken, it would require a temperature of 250 to 290 degrees centigrade. That would be there. Then, if we talk about our rotis, naan, lacha paratha, then it would require a temperature of 250 degree centigrade. If we are baking any cake or biscuits, it would require a temperature of 170 to 150 degree centigrade. If you are roasting vegetables, again it would require a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade, again for a good duration of time. So this is how the different temperature varies in our tandoor. Again, now tandoori marination. Tandoori marination is not a marination what we do for our food. Tandoori marination is marination which is required to marinate the tandoor. There is a first marination, there is a second marination. So that is a sort of tandoori seasoning, what we say. So tandoori seasoning, if we say tandoori seasoning, how it goes? Tandoori seasoning, please, who are students who are noting down, this we do in practical as well. So tandoori masala recipe, what happens is we take cumin seed, we take coriander seed, we take cloves, we take sort of um, uh, as some acidic thing which is there, and then you have cinnamon, ginger, garlic, red chili, turmeric, mace. So these are the different things which are being used. Now, uh, different tandoori marination, there are again different tandoori marinations which are there. Now, most common thing which what I have seen also during my industry days is we use spinach, which is there, we use gram flour, which is there, we use salt, we use red chili powder, we use turmeric, and then we put that into a curd solution which is there, and we let it remain there. So of course the spinach is being pureed and then being kept. So same marination is applied on the clay walls of the tandoor, and it's this is before we heat up the tandoor. So after we apply the marination, we leave it for a day, and then we heat up a tandoor. This is being done for the tandoors which are fresh, which are not being utilized. So this is being done, they are being heated up. So this marination is being done for 2 3 days. One thing why we do this marination is to prevent the rotis or chapatis from sticking. Another thing is why we apply this marination, so that it when we heat up the tandoor for the first time, there would be cracks which would be there in the clay. So these cracks are being filled up by the spinach or the masala what we are applying on the tandoor. So this is why whenever we are using a fresh sort of tandoor, we apply a marination first. So a marination is being applied for 2 or 3 times in a process of a month or so, and then we keep letting it. A tandoor again has to be sort of prepared before using for at least a week or so that the cracks which develop when we first heat up a tandoor, or the sand which comes loose, is easily being taken care of. Now, again, as I said, the cracks which develop into tandoor are being filled by the marination which is being done. Apart from that, whatever sand is loose, if we marinate a tandoor, then the sand again sticks back. And once we do a marination for 2 or 3 times, the sand which has been coming out would come out, and rest would remain on the plate. So that is why tandoori marination is being done. Again, I would summarize why, what are the things which are being utilized in sort of marination of tandoor. There is a spinach, there is red chili powder, there is salt, there is again turmeric which is there, then again somewhere you use jaggery also which is there, salt of course is there, then curd is there, and this everything being grinded into paste and then being applied on the tandoor. Hope I am not going too fast, so that everybody is able to understand. Now, when what are the basic? So tandoor marination is understood. Anybody have any questions? Please write. Please note down right now, and I'll address that towards the end of the session. So yes, I see Bhavishya Goyal's question, but we'll do that at the end of the session. Write it down, and we'll discuss that. So now the major principle, or the major things which need to be noted down to see what how the tandoori marination should go. Now, if the common principle which applies for all the tandoori marinations, first is acids. So whatever tandoori marination you see would have acids and fats. It has to be compulsory there. Acids would, of course, acids would be used in conjunction with salts and fats, because what happens is the acid would provide a lactic acid, or lemon juice would provide a lactic acid, or the vinegar would provide a lactic acid, or tomato juice would provide a lactic acid. The lactic acid would would give you, of course, a sour taste, and would prevent the sort of the burning which is there. The fat would give the moisture, and the acid would give you the taste, which is compulsory. Whenever you roast anything, you add lemon to that, it would enhance the taste of that particular dish that is there. So acid would act in the same way. Fats would provide moisture. It would moist the joint or tikka, whatever you are roasting. Then you have enzymes. Enzymes. What I am talking about is uh, papaya has a papain, which is a very common enzyme. So bormoline is there, which you get from pineapple. Mango, you have mangosteen, kiwi, ginger. So what is the role of enzymes? They sort of tenderize the chicken meat, vegetable, what are been whatever is being they are being applied on. So that is the role of enzymes in marination. So first thing is acids and fats, then you have enzymes which are there, then you have salt. So whenever we marinate any food, we add salt, whether it's Western or whether it's Indian. So what is the role of salt in marination? Salt enhances the gelatinization. What is gelatinization? It makes the meat to observe and retain moisture. It helps the meat to observe more moisture. So in that way, what happens is whenever you put salt and you add a drop of water, it would observe. The salt would absorb the water and it would get more. It won't let the sort of water to disintegrate. It won't let it. It would absorb. Whereas if you put sugar, it would always release water. So whenever, if the common example is when we are putting salt in onion also, that it would observe more moisture and it will stop cooking. Whereas if we put sugar into anything, it will release water. Example is your gajar ka halwa or anything. When you are cooking, so it will release water. Same would happen with your dal ka halwa. When we put salt, when we put sugar, when your water is totally observed, then we put sugar and then we again stir it. That time also little water has been sort of resumes out. So this is how the salt acts in this is the role of salt in your marination. Then you have flavors can be your garlic, pepper, cinnamon. These are different flavors which are added, like uh, your all tandoori marination would have garlic into that. Means garlic enhances the flavor like anything. And cinnamon or cardamom would be added into anything which go towards white marinations. If you see, would have uh, your green um, uh, green cardamom powder by default, because that goes well with the flavor. It sort of gels well with the flavor. And it uh, garlic and everything plays a major role in breaking down the collagens. What are collagens? Collagens are the small tissues which are present inside the meat. So collagens are being broken down by the garlic, strong flavors. Then there is jacquarding. What is jacquarding? Jacquarding is when we only marinate or tenderize the surface, and then we apply sort of cut or stab on the top of that, is called jacquarding. So when this is suppose a meat piece of meat which is there, and then we apply a cut on the surface of meat, that is called jacquarding. So it can be sort of mincing, or it can be through a needle also, it can be through a knife also, it can be through a fork also, it can be through mallet also. So mallet is sort of a kitchen hammer which is there, which is in a square form. So that has been done. Then you have temperature. So as is being said, a marination would require an ideal temperature uh, to get sieved into the uh, meat or chicken or whatever has been. So ideal temperature would be sort of 50 degree, 40 to 50 degree centigrade, which is there. And a marinated meat has to be kept in a fridge. But because what happens is, if you marinate and if you keep anything outside, it will it would go bad, it would taste bad, it would smell bad. So a meat once marinated also has to be kept in fridge. If you are using it immediately, then of course, yeah, you can keep it for outside if you are using it in an hour or so. Otherwise, if you need to keep a meat if you need to marinate something, you need to at least give 8 hours, 8 hours to for a marination to seep into a meat. So that is what has been these are what the major sort of things which acts a major role in marination, like you have acids and fats. So basic body acids, of course, you have acids are like you have dahi, you have lemon juice, you have tomato, you have you have lemon juice which is there. So these are acids. Fats is your clarified butter, oil, whatever you are using, sarson ka tel. So that is fats. So acids are gives you a sort of seeps into your meat, into your meat or marination, and fats would provide a moisture to the meat. That is there. Then you have enzymes. Enzymes like I have taken example of papaya. You have pepin. You have bromelain, which is from pineapple. You have mango. You have kiwi. So anything which breaks down the which acts as a tenderizer. You have kachri which is there. So these acts as a tenderizer. These what happens is these enzymes act on a warmer temperature, and these tenderizes the meat. So again, so enzymes tenderizes the meat. Then you have salt. Salt helps in gelatinization. So gelatinization, what happens, it absorbs more water and again helps in sort of your water absorption. Then you have flavors. Flavors can be minced garlic, you have chili, you have turmeric, you have coriander powder, you have peppers, cinnamon, cardamom. So these help in breaking down the collagen, the tissues which are present inside the meat. Then jacquarding. Jacquarding is to help the marination seep inside the meat. Seep inside the meat. So once we are done with the process of marination, we sort of cut, we give a cut to the upper surface of the meat. So that is called jacquarding. Jacquarding doesn't only mean that we are giving a cut on the upper surface of the meat. It can be done through a fork also. It can be done through a mallet also. It can be done through a sharp knife where we are just inserting it, the tip is being inserted inside, and so that your meat sort of marination seeps inside the meat, total all everything gets marinated, masala goes inside. And then you have temperature for marination. So marination has to be ideally kept for, when marinated meat has to be kept for 8 hours in the marination, and in the temperature range of 30 to 40 degrees centigrades. So that is the whole process of marination what we have discussed. Any questions, please wrote down. I'll definitely answer them at the back once we are done with the sort of cooking. Now uh, what is what are the different sort of uh, just give me a second. So now what different marinades products we have. So we have breads which are the roti, naan, paratha, kulcha is being made from tandoor. uh, then you have whole meats which is there, ran, uh, whole tandoori chicken which is there. You have poultry, you have games which are there. Then you have a sea kebab, mince kebabs which are there. So sea kebabs, Sikhs and sea kebabs. So what tandoori cooking is Sikh. Once you have the sea kebab, so you apply anything on the sea kebab that is there. Then you have mince vegetable kebab or mince meat kebab, that is also a sea kebab. Then you have boti kebab. So what would be a boti? Boti would be anything which have meat still, which have bones still present in that. So that would be a boti kebab. And then you have a sort of whole chunks of meat which is there. So that would be immense meat sort of kebab which you apply again. So what would be a major difference between a Sikh kebab and a whole chunk of meat? So a whole chunk of meat can be a boneless also. That doesn't usually apply that you have a boneless butter chicken, you have boneless piece of meat, whereas you have a whole piece. So a piece of meat or a piece of chicken with a with a bone would be called boti, and a piece of chicken or a piece of meat without a bone would be called a boneless piece of meat. So that would be a whole piece of chicken which would be there, or a whole piece of meat which would be there. Then you have tikkas, which I just explained, that whole piece of meat would be a tikka. Then you have uh, only the breast pieces which are there. So a breast piece of chicken again being marinated. So again that would be again termed into a tikka. Then you have stuffed kebabs. Now, what are stuffed kebabs? Stuffed kebab, you might have seen tandoori aloo, which is there. Then you have, again, you can have a stuffed breast piece which can be rolled and then you can put into as a kebab. So that is there. Then, so these are then you have vegetable kebabs which are there. So these are the different types of kebabs which are being prepared on tandoor. Then you have vegetable kebabs which are there. Then you have whole tandoori gobi musalam, again a preparation which is being there. So once, though tandoori gobi is seldom been prepared in the tandoor, most of the time it's been prepared in the oven. But many a time when we see it, it has been roped into a seek, been done into a marinated gobi, and then it's been roasted in tandoor at very low temperature of around 100 degrees centigrades also. So these are the different kebabs which are prepared. Again, I'm forgetting paneer, which is a very famous dish with the vegetarians who are there. So paneer tikka is again a vegetarian preparation which is there. So this is how the kebab goes. Different types of kebabs which are being tandoori preparations which are being. Now uh, we would again have a different session on different marinations which are being done, like a tandoori marination for your red tikka would be very different. Like a tandoori tikka, a red tandoori tikka preparation, we'll take in another session whenever we have. So in that we'll discuss the whole preparation method, because we are running out of time. It's already 45 minutes have passed. I need to answer the questions also. Rita, please send me the questions what are being taken by the students, so that I can answer them. uh, Please WhatsApp me. And okay, just give me a minute. Mm, okay, I have few questions which are there. So Bhavishya have asked how much and which type of charcoal does the tandoor use. Now, there is a charcoal which we sort of mine, which is called peat. Then there is a charcoal which we get from plant source. So there are two types of charcoal. Now this is again the peat which is there is usually used in sort of factories which are there, because it has a high smoke level and it has a high density. It is larger. A bulk has been, which we obtain from mining. So usually the coal what we get is from a plant source where it's been burned for a particular time period, and then the process of burning has been stopped. So that is how you get the coal. And so that is there. How much depends. If we have, this is depends on the capacity of tandoor. Like the tandoor what we have in college, we would require at least 10 kgs of coal to do an operation for one time, which is there. So I hope Lakshya, Bhavishya, uh, you are satisfied with the answer. If yes, then again put a thumbs up. That is there. Papaya as a base marination, because the quality of meat what we get in India doesn't usually sort of get tenderized that easily. So we have to use either papaya, bromelain, mango, kiwi, whatever there as a tenderizer. Whenever we are using meat, mutton, and chicken, of course, it can go fine. That is not a problem. It doesn't require so much time. Doesn't require that sort of preparation. Okay. So Shivam, of course, put a thumbs up if you are satisfied with the answer, or if you require more explanation. Himanshu has asked the smell of chemical fuel with which we lit the tandoor goes in the food. No, it doesn't. Even when you see during when we lit up the chemical fuel in our buffet also, it is not. It is odor free. It is odor free. It usually doesn't smell that bad. So the smell, and it's very it is minuscule quantity what we are using, very small quantity what we are using. So usually the aroma what you have in a tandoori food or in tandoor would be of the clay which is there, so it is being dominated by that. So the fuel would burn and the odor would be less, because it will take a fuel you're burning 2 hours before. The odor, the smell won't stay for that long, and you are using a very small quantity, so it won't stay for that long. And again, the predominant smell would be of the clay which would be which is there in the tandoor, so it won't. Himanshu, uh, again, it goes for you also. If you're satisfied with the answer, please put your thumb there. Okay, then uh Lakshya, apart of ghee, what else does we use to give a smoky flavor? No, smoky flavor. Usually, what you see, we apply oil also. We apply butter also. So, if ghee is not there, we can apply butter. We can apply oil also as well. But oil won't give that much of sort of smoky flavor which is there. What has been given by ghee. So butter can always be a substitute to that. If we want a good flavor, we don't put oil. We apply butter on our marinated meat, and then we sort of roast it or tandoor it. So this is where it goes. The alternative for a ghee would be, of course, butter. Is pineapple better than papaya for marination? No, it depends. What flavor? Papaya usually doesn't give any flavor, so it doesn't affect the flavor that much. Uh, yes, but pineapple would, of course, enhance your marination because it has a certain tangy flavor. So papaya can be used as a tenderizer and can be used instead of lemon or lime. So it can work both ways. Uh, then Vinay, please repeat Jacquarding. I hope by now, Vinay, you would have answer for Jacquarding, but then also I'll repeat. Jacquarding is a process where we either slice up on top of a chicken, we score it, and we insert the tip of a knife or by fork or by a satay stick. We sort of prick the meat so that all the marination seeps inside. So that is the process of jacquarding. We do that through mallet also, so that all the marination seeps inside the piece of meat or chicken, whatever we are doing. So that is jacquarding. Okay, Vishal Swami, is there taste difference between electronic tandoor or a clay tandoor? No, there won't be any basic difference. Only uh, what happens is when we are doing a electronic tandoor, the basic difference is uh, we are letting up a sort of coal inside the tandoor, whereas to heat up the things, the walls to be heat up. In electronic tandoor, the heating process is being done through the electricity instead of the coal. So the walls would be heated up. The flavor, of course, would be a sort of very little difference between that, because what I have noticed, the smoky flavor what you get from coal won't be there in the clay in the electronic process. So there is a sort of 80% less sort of smoky flavor which is there. How to control the temperature of manual tandoor? This has to be done, as you might have noticed that whenever the tandoor temperature goes high, there is a cloth dipped into salt and is being sort of surrounded in the tandoor. That is how you get the temperature down. If it's too high for a preparation of roti, the same tandoor temperature can go to 480 degree to 500 degree centigrade, so that we can do our roasting part, which is there, roasting or a sort of meat preparation can be done. But if we need to cook roti, the temperature has to be get down, and by uh, inserting a salt, by sort of doing a cloth dipped into salt water, when we are putting inside the tandoor, when we are rotating inside the tandoor, the temperature would go down. This is how the temperature of tandoor is being controlled. How we reduce the taste of salt by mistake if more salt is added on higher side. Now, in tandoori food, either we add more meat, or we sort of remove the wash the marination and we again marinate it. There is no way that we can remove the more salt from the marination. Either you add more meat so that the salt is being balanced, or you wash the marination and we marinate it for second time. There's no other way to remove the sort of more salt if we have by accident put into marination. If we want to make white gravy without onion, Bhavishya, this already been said that we need to discuss it. I am this is it's not an right sort of platform to ask this. You message it to me directly, I'll answer that. Any more questions? Yes, we'll solve your problem to how you make a white gravy. We don't worry about that. We'll do that. Yes, any more questions? Yeah, I have still sort of 8 minutes to go. Okay. Can can tandoori flavors be given to a dish which is poached? Okay. No, because what if we if we poach anything and then we tandoor it, first of all it won't be, because your what happens is, when we are poaching anything, it's already been cooked. It's poaching is when we are there. Again, poaching is being done for three purposes. Either we want to reheat the thing, if we want to take out the smell, or if we want to partially cook it. So there are three things. Now see, if we are poaching a tomato and then we are roasting it, it won't hold back. It would go inside the tandoor. So that is why we do roasting of the vegetables which are fresh. We don't poach them or boil them and then we roast that. If we can roast it, but it cannot be done in tandoor. Either it's done, if we lay down something like we do in the process of making a dal makhni, like we leave it there. So same way, if we sort of boil tomatoes, or if we boil potatoes, if we poach potatoes and then we leave it on top of the tandoor itself, then it would have the flavor which would be there of a coal, but it won't get roasted, because that would be that it would be too high there. So that is how it's poached or boiled thing cannot be roasted. It will get into the tandoor, or it will fell into the tandoor. That is there. Okay. uh, mm, Okay, Saurabh Mahendra has asked why there is a sort of bitterness which is there. Now, bitterness is due to the presence of lime. Whenever you keep anything marinated with lime for a longer duration of time, it would have a bitterness. So that is why when we are marinating anything, we don't add any acidic agent. We add only curd at the beginning to sort of giving it a tenderness or to break down the as a tenderizer. So that is why immediately, if we want to marinate anything and we intend to keep it for longer duration of time, we don't add lemon, lime, something acidic. No, we don't add. We add it just before we are finally putting it for a roasting. So that is, if you experiment on the same thing when we do, if you put lemon into anything and you don't, and you keep it for longer duration time, you'll find it more bitter. Same, you can you store your onion with your lemon for a longer duration of time, you'd find your onion bitter. But instead, same, your uh, onion, you squeeze out the lemon juice on a time, you would find it tangy. So that is different. You do it today at the home. You slice onion and you store it with lemon for some 8 6 8 hours, it would go bitter. And if you squeeze lemon juice, it would turn tangy. So same thing. Try it at home. Okay. Taste difference between electric oven, that has already been answered. There would be a major taste difference. There would be sort of 80% difference between there between okay, taste difference between electric oven and electric tandoor. That are two different things. Electric oven would work on a capacity where the clay won't be there, whereas electric tandoor, there would be clay which would be present. So of course there would be a major difference between the taste which is there. Can tandoor be used inside the house? Yes, of course. Majority of the hotels do have tandoor inside, and there is a good exhaust system which is being put. So you can use tandoor until and unless you can use tandoor inside the home, but you should have a very effective exhaust system if you are using a tandoor inside. Otherwise, you need to keep it a place where there is a good ventilation. Sometimes I make tandoori chicken, but I never use hung curd. I always use normal. But as you have hotel experience, which curd would be give better flavor? Hung curd would, of course, give you a better flavor. What happens is it would give a body to your marination, and it would the enzymes which are present inside the lactobacillus which is present inside the curd would be more restricted because the water would evaporate. So it would act more sort of if see, if we have reduced anything, the power goes. So same way, if we use hung curd in our marination, it would enhances the flavor because it would give a body. It would roll around your marination more easily. Whereas normal curd, there will be sort of more water which would be there. Your marination would be more watery, which would be there. So there it won't apply. It won't apply so much to your meat. Whereas a hung curd marination would apply more to your meat, which we want. So hung curd is always preferable instead of irregular normal curd. What would be more useful for the flavor, lime or lemon? Now, do you, Lakshay, do you understand what is lime and lemon? Lime, if we say sweet lime, so lime is always bigger, lemon would always be smaller. So lime and lemon, though both would have an acidic taste, it won't differ much, but the quantity what we are getting, lime and lemon. So this is usually it would impart basic acidic taste which is there. What is first burn? First burn, I'm not getting the question. What is first burn? I don't understand. Please explain. I also need to see what is first burn. Bhavishya Goel. Yes. Any more questions? I hope everybody's queries are being answered. Hope it was a fruitful session for you, all of you. In case you require any more questions, If okay, and if you have any more questions, please WhatsApp me, ask me directly. Bhavishya, I would get back to you on how you can prepare a white gravy without onion. Definitely, I need to look into that. Twice has been asked. Looking into that. Okay, any more questions? Students, be home, be safe. We'll keep getting you back via this method of teaching. Any questions you have, please note down and ask through WhatsApp. We are here to answer that. Be safe, be healthy. Bye. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Again, it's an interesting session. I hope this was an interesting session for every one of you, and hope you got something from out there. Notes would be shared soon. I don't have a proper copy for that. I will send the slide right now. Send me someone's email ID, or I'll share that on group. I'll do that on tandoori marination. Okay, fine. Chalo, good day. See you there. See you tomorrow. Bye. Have a nice day.